Hello everyone, I'm here with Jake to do an RCF on one of our apartments. Just a couple of things to note. Once again, as soon as you walk into a space, as far as the walls are concerned, the door's behind me. So again, I just walked in. On my left is the left wall. On my right is the right wall. In front of me is the front wall. And behind me, where the door is the back wall. And it'll be the same when you enter a bedroom as well. All right, so let's start by going through the kitchen.
Yeah, so obviously there's a good amount of compartments in the kitchen, so the most important part about this is to make sure that you go in a circle, either this direction or this direction, but just make sure you start on one side and finish on the other so you don't forget anything. So I'll just start in the fridge. You just want to take a look into the fridge and make sure none of the residents left any excess food behind, or just food in general, and that it is in good condition. If it wasn't, you'll just note that on your RCF form. And just take a look at this real quick and make sure there's nothing in here. And then you are just going to quickly go through each cupboard. I like to start on the top, go all the way around, and then finish back around on the bottom. So kind of just hitting everything. Nothing in here. Just keep on rolling. If you find anything, then just make sure you put it on the RCF form, and we will be able to get to it. Then, all right, take a look at everything. I would take a look at the oven too, and just make sure that it's on in general. Obviously, you don't have to, figure out if you don't have to turn any of the knobs. Just, if you can see the time on it, that should tell you everything you need to know. So all compartments in this kitchen area have been checked, and then just to finish off, just make sure that the water runs in the sink as well. At this point, we can move into the living room area. In the living room, you're going to see that we have 2 stools. We have a table with 4 chairs. Specifically in the 2-bedroom apartments, we have a single seat chair, 2 couches, a entertainment system, and a table over in the corner. So just make sure that all those things are there. And then in general, just take a look at each thing individually and make sure that it's in good condition. If you look at this couch specifically, it looks like it's getting a little bit more worn down, so you can note that, and we can see what we can do to address that over the summer. But this couch compared to this one is just a little bit more worn down, so that's something you would take note on. If that single seat right here, it looks like it has a stain right here in this area, you can just note that down, so we can address that. If they're missing any chairs, missing any stools, just note that. But for this chair, just always make sure you pick up the cushion too, just to check underneath. Same stuff applies. I would take a look at the walls and make sure there's no serious wall damage. Here, there really isn't. It's mainly just marks, which are going to be able to get painted over, so it really is not a huge deal compared to if there was actual drywall damage. Also, just take a look at all the outlets as you're going around. If they're good, then you can just, you can just keep moving. But in general, yeah.
Also, light switches, just want to make sure that they're operating. Same over here.
Mm-hmm.
Light switch here by the front door. Just want to make sure that's operating as well.
Yeah.
All right.
And then as you're going through, just walking through the hallways, just make sure you take a look at the walls again, to make sure there's no serious damage to the drywall, or marks that you have to worry about. So we'll just swing around here and we'll be in our first bathroom. So as you go into the bathroom, just take a look to make sure there's nothing in here that doesn't need to be. Take a look at the walls once again to make sure there's no damage, the ceiling, to make sure everything looks all right. Just flush the toilet. Something like this is left behind. You just note that down on your RCF, and you should be able to keep on moving.
I'm gonna run the shower.
Yeah. So you see the shower is in working condition. And then you would do the same thing on this next bathroom over here. If everything's good with that, you would move on to this sink area, and whatever system you choose, just make sure you stick to it so you don't forget any of the drawers. But you can just make sure these are running real quick. Note something like that is left behind if it is, and then just take a look through all of the compartments once again. So as you can see, there's nothing that was left behind in the compartments, so you just move on to then the bedrooms. So we're in a 2-bedroom apartments. So you would just come into one of these bedrooms right here. You can see that there is a little bit more of extensive marks on the walls. Once again, it's not the biggest deal because they're going to get painted over, so it's not as bad as drywall damage, which you would see the brown part of the wall for. But you can definitely note down some like excessive scuffs like this on the wall, just for our knowledge for when we get to the painting portion.
And another just quick reminder again, when you first enter the bedroom, the door's behind me. So again, I'm entering, and anything furniture on my left is the furniture number 1, and the furniture on my right is furniture number 2. So in this room, we are in the B room. So this furniture, when I first walk in on my left, is B1, and the furniture on my right is B2.
Yeah, so in this room we have 2 dressers, 2 chairs, 2 5-drawer dressers, and then 2 mattresses with frames as well. So you're just going to go in a circular motion around the room. Whichever way you choose to go around first is your choice. But as you can see, this is already broken. It looks, so you just note that down in the RCF. You can take a look at the chair to see if it is in good condition. And then you would just go through the drawers once again for personal items and just make sure nothing was left behind. I like to start bottom to top for drawers just because it's, it's the most efficient way to go through. And then, just take a look at the wall. We already talked about the wall to an extent. And then you are moving on to the frame and mattress. So you just take a look at the mattress real quick, make sure there's no stains or cuts into the mattress. You can then lift the mattress up, leave it like this, take a look underneath, make sure there's nothing underneath at all, no personal items, no excessive trash or anything like that. And then you just take a look at the blinds real quick. They seem to also be in good condition. Same thing for this bed. Take a look at the top, turn it up, check the bottom, check underneath. We seem to be in good condition here. And then you would also just kind of look at the wall once again as you're going down. So which brings us to the next desk. So you're kind of just going to take a look at this real quick, make sure everything's working, make sure the chair is in good condition. So bottom to top, once again, looking good. And then the next thing, just in order in this room, would just be checking these last 2 drawers along with this wall in general. So just same process. Just check bottom all the way up. Make sure there's no personal items in here. Make sure you're good with that. Just close all of these. And then all over to this one. So this one seemed to be off the tracks a little bit. So what you would do is you just put this in the RCF, and our moving company that we use should be able to put it back on the tracks where it needs to be.
And you just want to make sure you're being as specific as you can with the RCF. So you would say the second drawer from the top is sticking.
Close all these up. All right, so yeah, that pretty much wraps up the bedroom check of one of the bedrooms in the apartment. You would just do that same check a second time in the next bedroom. If you're in a 4-bedroom, you would just do that check 4 times through the 4 bedrooms. And that pretty much is everything there is to checking a room at the end of the year for closing.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah.